Good morning, fellow traders. It's Bubblehead here, and it's time for the Good Morning Market Prep, sponsored by Positive Trends Research. Before we get started, make sure that we review this disclaimer. It is everything we're going to talk about here is for educational purposes only and not investment advice. All right, let's get started here. So we can see where we're at. This is the monthly chart on the SPX cash, or the S&P cash. So you can see that we've taken the hammer up, right? So we put a new all-time high in so far. But we still have a lot of time left in the month, so anything could happen at this point, although it did get a bullish continuation from that green hammer. The weekly chart has 4 green weeks in a row, and we're still green this week, with today being Friday, November 8th, 2019. And so right now we have a spinning top at the upper Bollinger Band. Futures are slightly red, but we'll take a look at those in a moment. So we'll see how this week finishes out and what the implications are next week. So we'll check that out there. So interesting on the daily chart, right? We have this downward trend line right here, right? And we closed 2 Fridays ago bullishly over these levels. That was the start of a move up, right? And we had Fed day here, right? Then the next day it kind of pushed down, filled a closing gap here, right, and then kind of worked its way back up. That showed, some bullishness, that it wanted to hold this hammer, right, these lows. Okay, so that's 2 lower shadows right there, and then boom, gap up on Friday, gap and go, Marubozu bar. Okay, very, very strong. So therefore Monday we get some bullish continuation, right, and then we kind of just stall out a little bit up here, right. Another hammer, just like this one, another hammer here that fills this gap, right? And then we gap up again and finish yesterday, Thursday, with a new all-time high and a bit of a topping tail, sort of a red spinning top right here. So today will be very interesting, right? There's a lot of trade talk, that goes back and forth between a lot of these candles. Yesterday we opened up, we gapped up, everything is bullish. It sounded like they're going to do this, tapered tariff removal between the two countries, and then by the end of the day, everybody's denying that that's not even the case, right? So what does that do? It leaves an open gap below, right? It leaves a closing gap below, leaves another open gap below, right? And it makes things a little bit interesting. But let's take a look at the geometric chart. This is the channel that we've been working on all through 2018 and 2019. So you can see it's respected these levels. One time it broke down, and that was in December, but it came back up. So it's possible that we're doing a symmetrical move from this breakdown, right, and possibly doing a move up, right, which would match what we've been talking about all week on the Elliott wave flats for a possible expanded flat, possibly to the top of this pitchfork, and then a potential impending move down after that area. That's around like 3,200, who knows, 3,300, depending where we get to. Now we could test lower, right? We could fill those gaps and then work our way back up again. So we just have to pay attention to the price action, and we'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. So let's take a look at the S&P futures here this morning. Okay, so this is something I tweeted out earlier this morning. You could tell here from yesterday, if you just take the all-time high and draw a trend line using our trend line techniques, high, right, to low, and the next non-intersecting area, right there where it doesn't intersect anything else, and boom, we have our trend line right here. Okay, so we broke out of the cloud this morning. We got through this big downward trend line, right, and put in a minor pivot, a turning point pivot right here. So once we close bullishly above this level, which we just did a few minutes ago, right, we can look for some potential continuation. Now it's running into a little bit of resistance, right, a little closing resistance from yesterday. So again, we're only down 1.2, 1.1 and a quarter. So if we could push above that, then we might see a little bit of a move up today. So let's see. We're holding cloud. Things are a little bit quiet this morning. Not a lot of volume, not a lot of news. We'll see if any tweets come out this morning that could possibly affect those things. So other than that, today we're looking at playing a few 15 orbs this morning. Okay, so one is a Monster Beverage. So they had earnings last night. It's been a very interesting, choppy chart for a while. So we'll see if they can break out of that choppy range. Here's the daily chart, just so you can see it. It's been very choppy you can actually see it in here. See how choppy this has been? Yeah, nice sideways action for a while. So we're gapping above that. Let's see if that gets any momentum today. We'll look for action around the 15 orb. Disney's the big one. Okay. Huge earnings report, right? Big move up to this 140 area. It still seems to be holding pretty well this morning. That 140 area is very key. Okay. If we go here, you can see what we've been working on Disney. We have a macro trend line here, which we've been holding. And now, if we're gapping over this pivot, this 140 pivot this morning, we have a chance for a gap and go with no real resistance to about the 142 area. So that's going to be a big deal this morning. TTD is another one that should be interesting. this one can get pretty volatile. So a bit of a gap down is below the prior day's lows, nothing too major on that one, but we'll see if it gets, we'll look for a reversal, a potential reversal on that one. Yelp is another one. It is gapping up. It's barely gapping over recent highs, so that could be a potential reversal as well. We'll keep an eye on that. DBX, a little bit challenging on the options, a little bit light, and in fact, pretty choppy right here. So probably going to be a void today, but still worth observing. And then finally, ATVI. Ooh, they had a big spike up yesterday, and they kind of came back down. So ATVI has just been struggling for a long time, right? Big gap down. Now it's kind of formed this major cup and handle. And now that it's gapped down below that level, this handle is going to get a little bit weak, right? So we may see another move down and then another push up. We'll see. But this company, right, this industry, although profitable, right, lots of revenue, has some issues, right, just technically on their chart. So it's a tough one to trade. It's a tough one to swing. A lot of false breakouts. Okay, so I mean, and even if it does have a breakout, it doesn't get a lot of continuation. So a lot of caution is warranted in this area. And that's it. So other than that, guys, not too much on the upgrade radar. I think like Advanced Auto Parts got to maintain. It's Friday, guys. So remember option expiration day if you trade the weekly options. So be careful. Don't get don't go in the money on those over the weekend, right? Nobody wants to get assigned. And if you find a good setup, don't be afraid to take next week's options. Right, it might not have as explosive moves as some of the other ones because of the theta decay, but it could be a safer trade. So anyway, just some considerations there. Anyway, I hope everybody has a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend. And remember your risk first and stay safe so you can stay in the game. And I'll talk to you soon.